Radio in motion program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, here we go.
Radio in motion.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining me on tonight's Radio Motions Tuesday night party. But first off, we're going to have another episode of The Ugly Truth. And the ugly truth is movies just keep letting me down, left and right. And this one that I want to talk about, The Bride, is no exception. The sad thing is, I had high hopes for this movie. I feel like lately, as I've said before when I do movie reviews, the studios, they just are trying to go for a formula and the easy money. And I think that worked for a while. Sure it did. It worked during the superhero phase, you know, the Marvel phase. Had a good 10, let's call it 15-year run, but good 10-year run. And the safe bet was, superhero movies. And I'm not going to say it didn't work, but I do think it wore out its welcome. And then when they tried to do the lazy thing, which they're still doing, rather than come up with unique ideas, unique stories, unique characters, they're just using old IPs, and they only know how to try and revive, Star Wars and Indiana Jones and Aliens and Terminator, and all the movies that were beloved in the 80s and 90s, and even that only goes so far, and they've just diluted the wishing well, and it's quite sad. So this movie I really thought was going to be a bit different. Every once in a while, even amidst, the cookie cutter produced safe movie, safe bet, there's always a film that can pop through. And this happened in the 80s and 90s when some of the best movies ever were made. There are the outlying independent sort of films where, and I'm not saying directors and actors and writers don't all put their heart into a project. I'm sure somewhere that still happens. I certainly hope it does. But when it does happen, and back then, maybe there was the little guy, the engine that could, the little guy that didn't have the big studio backing dollars, and it would shine through. And nowadays, I hope that happens more often, but it doesn't seem like it is. So, the movie The Bride, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, I think that's awesome. I think she's certainly a great actress and looks like she is passionate about movies. I'm not saying she's not, but again, you don't know where it falls apart. You don't know how much influence your money backers, your producers, the studio has from your original idea. Only she can tell us. Starring Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale. Again, he's known to be a bit hit and miss, but I think in every movie he's done, whether the movie itself is crap, he brings it. And I think he did that here. But essentially, I think this one, I thought it could be unique enough to break out. Based on The Bride, which has been delved into in the past, The Bride of Frankenstein. Mostly it's a bit of a, look, I'll be honest, The Bride was always a bit of a horror gig, a bit of a side part. It was never really, developed. And that's why I thought, this could be cool. This is something that hasn't been used and abused and turned out over and over again. The Bride, okay, let's develop that and see what it can be from her side of the story. Yes, I'm such a chauvinist pig male. Amazingly, yes, I do love female-led movies and female stories. But you get it wrong. I want them to develop the female character as well as they would develop a male character. And frankly, I'm sorry, for the past 10 years, they've been pretty crap at that. because we live in a world where there are strong female characters that live forever. There are the Sarah Connors of Terminator, the Ripley of Alien and Aliens, Mila Jovovich, The Fifth Element. There are characters that were like, yeah, she kicked ass. And she didn't have to take away from her male counterpart to kick ass. And she earned it, just like a male. Again, I've said this ad nauseum, and I'm sure you've heard plenty of arguments for this, but if you know, you know. If you don't, well, I can't help you. My point is if you are in the know, it's all about, it doesn't matter if it's male lead, female lead, kid. If you develop the character and you get the audience to buy in and back the hero or anti-hero, they love the character, and that character can stand the test of time. And plenty of strong females have stood the test of time to this day and are a huge part of movie and pop culture lore. But that didn't happen here. What we wanted, like with any movie, sounds like a great idea. They're going to develop the character of the bride, who is often pushed to the side. Put her in the forefront. Awesome, don't care. But write the character. Write a story arc, for God's sake. A great concept. Frankenstein's monster. Let's say he ends up living because he is a crazy amalgamation of all kinds of body parts and who knows what technology is inside him. The man might live for 100 years. Man might live for 150 years. Might get lonely. Anyone can get lonely after 20 years, but imagine, living that long. And again, there'll be mild spoilers here, and frankly, based on the box office opening weekends, I don't think y'all are going to go see it. But as I point out mild spoilers, I'll let you know. But we wanted to see the bride character develop, but also if it has Frankenstein's monster in it, and he is searching for love, and the only way he knows how to do it is to create a person like he was created. Awesome. Still on board, as I was when I saw the first trailer. I did a trailer review, and I was like, I'm worried, but I'm on board. Also, set in the 1930s Chicago gangster Bonnie and Clyde style. Okay, a bit of another layer, but you know what? The visuals look cool, and I'm like, hey, I'm still on board. They can go around and wreak a bit of havoc and could be the anti-heroes. As left field as this is, I'm still on board. But as it often does, the execution falls apart. The story is messy and unfocused. Too many ideas jammed into one film. Those original that I said were enough, a horror story and a bit of Bonnie and Clyde. If you're clever, you can really develop that. But as more and more things and the message comes out, too much, messaging rammed down on your head, you end up with a movie that has no idea what it wants to be. And again, that's the worry. And yes, I'll dive right into it. As anyone has seen any movie in the past 5 years, probably even longer, probably 10 years, it's all about polarized political messaging. And I've said this before, movies have always had, maybe they did have an agenda or an idea or a feeling from whoever it was, the director or the writer or the actors themselves, because everyone that makes the movie, although the movie is more than some of its parts, it's about what is the final story they're trying to create. Certainly messaging always came through, and we would notice it, or we didn't, or maybe it was subtle. But now when the message is everything, there is no character development, there's only the message. It's like a giant ad for, are you left or right? Are you for or against this ideology? Oh my God, we're just tired. It's tiring enough every day with YouTube and social media that you can't just enjoy yourself. And you say, well, don't listen to it, don't watch it, avoid it. I can't avoid it anymore. I've been trying to avoid it my whole life. It landed on my face and started to wiggle like a giant octopus, and it's strangling me. I can't avoid it. I can't avoid divisiveness of tribal politics. It's annoying. The movies were supposed to be that escape. Like I said, even with a peppering of messages, it was supposed to be escapism. And if it was something that was a real story, even better, but still escapism. that you would go on this journey with that character and the actors brought it to life. I love movies, I love filmmaking. I always have, I still do, but I'm really just tired of so much crap lately. Not because the people who are making it wanted to make it crap, it ends up crap. So yes, the messaging here, as you could imagine, they went full steam ahead with the feminist theme. And again, I'm not anti-feminist. I just said how awesome it is when I think there's a strong female character. We will follow, the men will follow, the whole audience will follow. You know what's funny though, when I see movies like this, and there are many of them, when it's all about the heavy-handed theme, and in this one it's the full feminist theme, the audience doesn't come, including the women. They don't come either. Why is that? Because the movie's crap. Someone who is out there protesting with their ideology, they also don't want to see a crappy movie. So guess who doesn't show up to crappy movies? Even the audience that you think you were targeting. Everyone stays home. Good job there. Either you try to please everyone, or you just try to please a very small demographic. You end up pleasing no one. So the movie doesn't trust the audience that people are smart. I'm sorry, I still believe there are smart people out there, for God's sake. But yeah, instead of character development, it was just, spells out the message that keeps talking about, the feminist message. It feels like a slogan instead of a story. And again, it's not about, you can build that into the character as someone who is strong, but you can't just say, from again, the first line, from the first images you see of that character, she's awesome and she kicks ass even though she hasn't earned it, and we haven't shown it, but where she keeps saying it, the character keeps saying, I'm a badass, you go girl, you go girl. Every line is like, yeah, badass, you go girl. And you're like, oh, well, they used to write men like that. No, they didn't. I could give you so many characters that all of them, even if they ended up the hero of the story, they ended up going on a horrible journey where most of the movie, they end up getting their ass kicked physically or emotionally, worn down, or they lose more than they win. I don't care if it's Indiana Jones or Luke Skywalker or Conan the Barbarian, all these characters, bigger than life characters, actors playing them. Frankly, mostly they lost. Mostly they ended up not even completely winning at the end, just surviving. Mostly, all the characters who are male also went on a horrible journey of learning. And that's called a story arc. Surprise. You can have someone, and even women can learn something. I know that you're amazing, you're the best at everything right out of the gate, and that's awesome. I'd like to be that, I wish. But nobody can connect with that because it's not real. I'm sorry, we're all human and we make mistakes. And we have to go on the journey to get there. If you're awesome from the day you're born, good on you. How cool are you? Good job. Most of us are just dregs trying to get along, men and women. It's boring when someone's just awesome at everything and they don't even show it. Or once they do show it, they've already said it so much you don't even care. I'm awesome, I'm gonna kick butt, I'm awesome. Hey, I'm being awesome, I'm kicking butt. Everyone just goes, yeah, good job. Didn't go on a journey to learn anything. Didn't learn those skills, you just seem to have them. So yeah, no character development, just the message, and heavy-handed through the whole film. That gets old. Again, the performances, they sound like they were praised, and that sounds good. Christian Bale, solid. Jesse Buckley, solid. But again, you're looking for chemistry. Don't know if that was there. Maybe in certain scenes you could see that they played well off of each other. But if the writing's terrible and there's no character development, there's no point. And again, as you would expect, but what does it look like? Again, you go for the movie for more than just how it looks, especially how much movies cost these days. That's why they all end up on streaming. That's why streaming is killing Hollywood. Put out some good products and we'll go. Okay, it's not a requirement. It's not, you must go see a movie. It's still a piece of art in the end, and people are going to pay for that. And it's also a product. It's art and it is a product. You got to market it to everyone. But yes, was it visually impressive? Yes. Looked cool, costume and the styling. Like I said, that 1930s gangster Bonnie and Clyde era sounds good. But if the characters aren't developed enough to care about what it looks like, then it's just hollow. So again, the bride, they could have developed that character. Oh my goodness, what's this person's experience, and does she find a connection with someone who went through a similar experience? Although in the movies in the past, usually the bride, all we get is when she sees Frankenstein's monster and freaks out, and that's the end of that. Hey, that's an old world view, and hey, I'm not into it. I am into the modern audience. I am the modern audience. I've evolved too. Don't count out Gen X. We are that audience who has evolved into wanting to go see these things. So I want to see more than the bride just freaking out at Frankenstein and scratching his eyes out. But it did not happen. We wanted to see a complex anti-hero. Is it a Bonnie and Clyde thing? Are they going to find that in each other and it's us against the world? Let's go wreak havoc on the world and show them what's what. A tragic monster finding identity, both of them. How does Frankenstein's monster get developed? You've got Christian Bale. Why even, maybe it's not his fault. I'm sure both the actors signed up to do what I said at the start, to develop all these things in the characters. Otherwise, why have someone sort of an A-lister like that in any movie if you're not going to develop them? Again, the Bonnie and Clyde style outlaw partner. But instead, all we got were speeches about freedom and power. Again, if you're going to do that, show us the emotion in it. Bring us along with that. Get us invested in the character, and they can bring us along on that journey. You can't just do, otherwise it's just ads. It's just a bunch of advertising snipped together into what is called a movie. You can't just do speeches through the movie. And the characters just react to situations rather than them driving the story. See what I'm saying? It's just, put them there, they look good, dress them up, background's lit well, thing happen, actors react. Next scene, thing happen, actors react. That's also not a movie. That's also not a character arc or character development. Why am I so critical? That's what I do, and that's what the audience does. That's why we're here, and we're allowed to, because again, it is a product. Just like art critics criticizing art, it's both art and it's also McDonald's. It's a product that we either want to consume or we don't, and we'll leave it behind. So yes, we can certainly be critical of it. But yeah, the bride ends up just being a symbol for, like I said, the political ideology rather than a person. And I don't want to follow that. Nobody wants to follow ideologies. We're bored with that. Only a small, look, more power to them, section of the entire planet really get into that, and they're just not normal, or they've got no friends or no life. And yeah, we never find out what she actually wanted, because everything's just a speech. Why did you want that? Are you really mad? Are you actually mad? Or somewhere you kind of conflicted because you were brought back to life and you have an opportunity to make a change and make these changes and live that life? Why didn't you explore that? No, just mad. Just angry mad. Frankenstein woman. That's it. And without that emotional hook, people find it hard to root for her or any character. And Frankenstein's monster, again, Christian Bale, he ended up barely mattering, and that was my fear. You can have that character in the forefront, whether male or female, but if the bride is the main character, should be, that's the name of the movie, of course, then he becomes the co-star. Again, I'm sure he signed up to do that, but plenty of co-starring roles in the past have ended up even having those moments that outshined the actor. Or even if they didn't, they did their job in those moments to support the leading actor or actress, and that's how that works. But if they're just pushed aside, then there's no point. We expect it again. The monster desperately wants a companion. Oh my God. And obviously because he's, how he looks, he's probably quite, shy and elusive, and that's what he is. Not on the dating scene, there's no swipe right or swipe left back then, so the dating scene's a bit more complicated out at the clubs. So again, he has to turn to, then I'll do what I only know about because of my history. I guess I'll just make one, and I'll seek out someone who could do that. If they can make me, they can make me a girl. Explore all that. And the bride, either rejects him or forms a bond. Explore that. That's what we're waiting for. Or maybe the whole movie is rejected, but at the end, maybe they finally come to a realization. No, that's not what we got. The monster, Frankenstein's monster, or Frankie as he calls himself, why not? What other name is he going to choose? I'm Frankie. Becomes a side character. The relationship is barely explored. How sad is that? Even I just barely touched on what would have been exciting to explore. Barely explored. They just start doing things. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm Frankenstein's monster. Let's create one. Oh, we've created the bride just like you. And they just go, let's go start some shit. Again, I wanted that, but you could maybe explore a bit more before they go and start some crap. But yeah, the emotional conflict never builds. What was expected, never happened. The relationship feels like an afterthought. How sad is that? And in the end, like I said, there are a few layers. Some movies can handle that. But this one seems like there's too many genres. Fighting, didn't know what it wanted to be. A gangster movie, a monster horror, a feminist allegory, a surreal artsy film, a musical. There was some bit of that in there, And I'm not going to say in the 80s songs didn't break out for no reason, and people would say, what the hell? But we just got used to it. It's an 80s movie. A song and dance might break out. Or a romance. Again, these are a lot of things that would have been interesting, but I would say you need to be very skilled to get all these movies into one. Otherwise it becomes a hot mess, which it is. And again, the tone swings so much that audiences never knew what movie they were watching. You know what I mean? You do have to stick to a couple main ones with little supporting parts. Is it a horror movie? Is it a gangster movie? Is it just an artsy film? A romance? Again, I feel like other movies have picked a couple of these and done well with it. And there's another layer, not really a spoiler, just an oddity. The writer of Frankenstein, Mary Shelley. So in this, Mary Shelley, actually, there's like a possession subplot. There are times when the bride speaks as Mary Shelley speaking through her, speaking to the camera and stuff, breaking the fourth and the fifth wall of dimensions. And that's a tough one to do right. And again, it feels like it adds another layer that they couldn't handle because it feels random. And it's another theme on top of all the other themes crowding the story, like I said before. And again, it pulls attention away from the characters themselves, the two monsters who are trying to find a way to figure out their life and their place in the world. And then you've got the spirit of Mary Shelley possessing the bride to say, go and do feminist things. Go and do the feminism that I couldn't do. I don't know. So again, the message replaces the story. Again, I don't mind political themes if they grow naturally through the story. But as in the past, like I said, the strong females in the past, and not too many lately that I can think of that didn't stick with me. It gets replaced with it just repeats the themes through the dialogue. It stops the story for a speech. You know what I mean? The story's progressing and then a speech. Wow, if I can't be a woman in a man's world, then I'm not going to be a man anymore. I don't know why I'm doing the 1930s woman actor voice. Look, a lot of the movies did sound like that. That's how the women sounded. I'm a woman in a man's world, I say. Anyway, when you stop and do this speech, it just breaks the rhythm. And again, it tells the audience what to think rather than to let them decide. We're tired of being told what to think. All right, COVID did that. We're tired. So yeah, instead of character growth, it just keeps explaining the message. The message, I always want to shout out to The Critical Drinker, really, for making that phrase stick round the world. Everyone knows when you say the message, echoing, you know exactly what we're talking about. So yeah, a movie that could have been good, but had to be made for modern audience, which means you have to appeal to everyone, or you just pick one very, very small, minute audience and just make sure it's for them. But unfortunately, you're trying to make your money back with a worldwide audience, and it's not going to work. interesting concept. I had hope, but bad execution. Yeah. I really, like I say, when I did the review for the trailer, I was so on board and I was worried, and everything that I thought might happen happened. Again, looks cool, good actors, but not one that's gonna stick with anyone, which is sad. It'll just become another. It's just content. It's just streaming content at this point, which is sad. It probably shouldn't have had a cinematic release. Again, I don't want to do the movies versus streaming. That's another story which I've talked about before. But I do feel like if they're going to put the movies in theaters, they really need to think about it and not overthink it about, like I say, trying to please everyone and just go by the algorithms and the numbers. Do they add up? Are we making the perfect Marvel movie? Not that sort of think about it. Just think about, does this have heart? Are we really believe in this? And let's do it. Or otherwise, just go straight to streaming, so it just can become content like every other noise on Netflix. So yeah, that's my estimation of The Bride. Again, nothing against Maggie Gyllenhaal as a director. Again, you have no idea what happens behind the scenes, and even if she was this passionate about these themes, maybe she does need to hone her skills a bit to be able to get that message across without hammering it over the audience's head. But again, maybe she'll come out saying, this is not the movie I intended, they ruined it. I don't know, who knows. But yeah, not gonna make money. Not that that's what makes a good movie, but it ain't a good sign when the audience doesn't show up. All right, that's my thoughts on The Bride. More great music up next on our Tuesday night party on Radio in Motion. You're listening to 99.3 Sunbury FM. We'll be right back after a word from our awesome sponsors.